Wow. Let the sin begin. Just before I start, let me just say that this grading is completely arbitrary, simply because it's just because how I feel about each song. And with that being said, I think I give each song a pretty fair grading. And today I'm going to be grading the Dark Watch EP, Cosmo-Deus by Dark Watch, and give the EP an overall grade at the end. Now, Dark Watch is a two-piece project featuring current vocalist of metalcore / deathcore band For the Likes of You, Austin Dickey, and former I Declare War guitarist Jacob Hansen. The concept EP has a deity-centric theme, heavy bass on the lyrical content, but don't let that mislead you, because Jacob definitely pulls his weight around with the instrumentals, with very heavy breakdowns that are very enjoyable and a lot of fantastic riffs. And with that background out of the way, let's jump into the first song. So to open up Cosmo-Deus, they knock it out of the park with Amaterasu, Iris and Furnace. It's a very good headbanger with solid riffs, and it's mixed fantastically with Austin's vocals. Comparatively, I honestly don't think it is as strong as some of the songs to follow, but overall, I think it's a very, very strong opener, so I'd give it a good, solid A-. Alright, so the next two are Taweret, the Primordial Wound, and Epibaga, Goring of a God, and I'm gonna grade those two together just because I think they're very similar in many ways, while also being opposite at the same time. Yeah. They both have a particular part of the song that's very memorable that I want to talk about, because Austin is very much the type of person, when writing his breakdown callouts or his breakdown lyrics, that he seems to like to break the mold sort of thing. But throughout the Dark Watch project, he kind of seems to do things that are prototypical for him, which is out of character, but in the middle of each breakdown, he drops some very memorable sort of lines or vocals that are different to what he normally does. Listening to Taweret, a lot of people will be screaming, "Gaze into the void and face your oblivion" because of the song Taweret. And similarly, Ipabog, where to begin with those moose vocals? I mean, just listening the first time, you're just sitting there like, what am I listening to? So that's kind of where they're similar. Where they differ, Taweret kind of has an ending that I'm not a huge fan of, kind of leaves me wanting more, kind of in a bad way. I mean, not necessarily a bad way, but not in the best way, because I kind of wish it was 30 seconds long, so that's kind of why I give it a B. Meanwhile, Ipabog is the exact opposite, leaving me wanting more in the best way. Like, I want more. I want them to be putting out more music simply because of how Ipabog sounds, so, which is why I feel an A- is very deserving for it. Alright, now we have Thanatos, the Void Vulture, which, in all honesty, is the more that Ipabog is making me want. It's got a lot of catchy riffs. I really love the breakdown-centric middle of the song vocally. It's really another song showing off Austin's chops, showing off how really good he is at what he does. And, well, I'm not a huge fan of fade-out endings. I do really like this one because it feels like a song that needs to be played live, where the instrumentals slowly fade out while Austin's screaming that final call-out line and just finally ends with no music and him just screaming it out. So that's why I kind of give that one a top A, very much so. Probably one of my favorite songs that they've released so far. Finally, we have Yuri the Jade King. This is a very strong end to the EP. It starts off getting you going, throughout the song it shows off how good Jacob is at transitioning, kind of showing that he's a god at it, pun intended. And at some points it does feel like there is just noise going on, which is not my favorite, but it pulls you right back in with that melodic stuff that contrasts it. And honestly, the ending is fantastic because it just ends. Some people would say, well, maybe that's kind of an unceremonious end to the EP, but in all honesty, it works just because it leaves you pondering the experience you just had. So that's why I'd give it an A-, but it's a very strong A-. I'd very much rank this one as my second favorite off the EP. Alright, now that's the grading of all the singles off of Cosmo-Deus. Now, averaging out those grades, that leaves it with an overall grade of an A-, which is a pretty fair assessment, I believe. Overall, it leaves me wanting more in a lot of ways, but that's a good thing simply because I want them to kind of release more. And honestly, it might be a weird comparison to make, but I feel like this is very comparable to Scion's EP, simply because it's both musicians flexing their strengths, just a little bit on a smaller scale. I hope that's not too offensive to them, but in all honesty, it's a pretty fair assessment. Anyways, if you think differently, come tell me why I'm wrong to my face. It'd be nice to have friends. But either way, definitely should check them out. They're definitely worth a listen, and if you do, tell them I sent you. Bye, thanks for watching.